going on, trainers? I know I'm a little late, and I'm sure you've seen this all over Discords and Reddit and YouTube's. But the Timeless Cup was announced. It looks to be really interesting. It's going to go from December 1st to January 8th, uh, with one bonus week, probably due to the holidays. Silph trying to make up for people not going to be able to play due to spending time with their family. Um, but definitely look over it and kind of see what kind of creative teams you can build. um, Let me know if you already have a team ready, especially if you're on my friends list, and because I'm going to need some practice. Little chart I found made by Palamon. I did steal it off the King IV's video with him, and it shows a pretty good beginner's guide to how to build a pretty balanced team with pretty much the meta. Um, for the first team that I thought of, I'm not going to stick to this whatsoever, although I have made two teams already using this format, and they're really balanced teams and should do pretty good. But this other team that I thought of, I want to see how well it goes. So, again, I need that practice. So my first opponent, Juan True J. I hope I'm saying that right. He's from McAllen, so big shout out to the McAllen guys. That's actually where I went to high school, so pretty cool to see McAllen players, showing up. He started off Umbreon, I started off Bibarel, and it's really bad lead for me. I do go for the swap to my Ninetales, but he does have a soft counter in that Bibarel. If he gets to two Surfs, it can take out my Ninetales. And I end up not shielding this. One of my big mistakes was, shield usage. All the games that I lost, just did not manage my shields correctly. So I'm going to come back in with Skunk Tank. I wasn't real sure on this matchup, but thought it was pretty decent. I probably should have came back in with my Bibarel just to farm it down. So I do believe he's going to come in with Umbreon, his own Skunk Tank. So we do have a energy advantage, and I knew with a unshielded Sludge Bomb and Crunch I could take it out, but he does shield that Sludge Bomb. Might have been a little better if I went with Crunch to bait a little bit. I decided not to shield here and go for a Crunch of my own. I don't believe that he shields, and it is resisted because Dark resists Dark. I try to go for another Sludge Bomb, but he gets off Crunch before, and I didn't want to waste a shield on a Pokemon with such low health. I do believe I just farm him down to get the energy, but he's going to come back in with his Umbreon, and Umbreon will easily be able to take out my Bibarel, or Bibarel. Still lost on that whole pronunciation. So I went for the Hyper Fang. Maybe I should have went for the Surf and possibly got two back-to-back. I don't know if that would have made that much of a difference. So he took game one. He does get a 3-0 sweep on me. So game two, I start with Suicune, which I added to my team as the tournament started, and only had one TM change from Ice Beam to Water Pulse. So that hurt me a lot. But you know, I go for what Suicune does best and just lowering attacks. I'm able to get off 2 bubble beams pretty quick, and you know, cutting that Ninetales charm in half, which, you know, it's already done a lot of damage to me. He does swap out into a Vaporeon. I don't know if I did Water Pulse or Bubble Beam, so Bubble Beam. And I swap out into Umbreon. So he is still doing quite a bit of damage, even though the water gun is reduced. He hits me with that last resort. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but I farm up a little bit of energy and go for the Dark Pulse. I was unable to get a last resort Umbreon, so, you know, going 4-3 with non-legacy Umbreon, I think I did, you know, pretty decent. He comes back in with that Ninetales. I'm able to get to one more charge move before it faints me down. I possibly should have tried to switch out, but, you know, it's... Oh, I'm actually able to get to 2 charge moves, but it doesn't really change a whole lot. He still has the shield. I have 2. I bring in my Alolan Ninetales, and I don't think I really should have shielded here, because a Psy Shock doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but he does have 2 lined up. I decided not to shield that one and feint it down with just charms, and he's going to come in with Bibarel. I definitely think if I had that other shield, I might have been able to take this game, but because of, you know, well, maybe not. I do shield here and get off, you know, a couple more charms, and his Bibarel's really low, but he's got enough energy for a Surf before I can get to a Bubble Beam, which, you know, at that point it was a really tight race. So he does take the match, and we do go for a third game. I'm going to lead Suicune again into his Umbreon with Hydro Pump, or what's the move? Not Water Pulse. What am I thinking of? Yeah, Hydro Pump. No? Yes? I don't know. With the other move that's supposed to be on Suicune, this would have been a good matchup for me, but because of my lack of TMs, it's not. So we're going to go for just Bubble Beams and get it as low as possible, so my Umbreon could possibly take it out if, you know, it comes down to that. Even though, you know, those are never fun matches. I swap out into my Alolan Ninetales, and he's pretty quick to swap out into his Bibarel. I go for the Psyshock. He does shield it because I'm sure he can get to 2 Surfs. So I decide to take the Surf, and he faints down pretty quick. My Umbreon comes in, and he's able to get off another Surf. I knew it wouldn't do a whole lot of damage. It's actually Hyper Feint. So I maybe should have shielded there. Could have changed something. But like I said, I wasn't really managing my shields all that well. I hadn't done a whole lot of practice like I did in Sinister. So he brings in his Umbreon. And this is where not having Last Resort Umbreon really hurt me. You really got to have it in that mirror match. I try to swap out there, which in the new update is gone for the time being. They said it might have been a glitch that you're not able to swap out, but I don't know. So he is able to get off another move. I really should have shielded. I mean, like you see, I have 2 beat up Pokemon and 2 shields, so at some point shields should have came into play. I'm just trying to go for that Water Pulse. This might be enough to take it out, but I do believe we get a shield instead. Oh no, So I'm able to feint it down, but he has Skunk Tank, and once again, without Last Resort, I'm unable to really do anything because of the Dark Resistance. So shields that one. I really should have just let it drop here, but I wasn't really sure on how much Dark Pulse actually did. Like I said, I didn't do enough practice, so if anything, make sure y'all do your practice, you do your sims, and figure out these matchups. And he is able to feint me down. So GG's. Like I said, shout out to McAllen. The next guy that I lost to is actually the guy that technically won it by tiebreaker, and a San Antonio player and one of my good buddies, Vergiverg. So shout outs to him and congrats. I start off Umbreon, or Suicune. He starts off Umbreon. I really just started Suicune because I knew he'd been dreading Suicune because his team wasn't really set up for it. I wanted to have a little bit of a mind games with him. I knew that his Umbreon did have that Last Resort, and he normally always beat me with it. So I knew, right off the bat, I was kind of at a disadvantage. But seeing that I got off 2 Bubble Beams, I didn't want to shield Umbreon. And so we build up some energy. I'm not sure if I shield this. I don't. And we actually CMP tied, so I go for this Water Pulse. I'm pretty sure since, nope, he lets go through. But, maybe the right play would have been just doing another Bubble Beam. Because now he has a little bit of stored energy, I'm sure. And I'm going to come in with my Umbreon. My Umbreon should be able to take this if the match is left just like this because of the damage reduction. So Last Resort not doing a whole lot. I think I went for the foul play, and it does about as much as his Last Resort was doing. Umbreon should be able to take this match if it has Last Resort. So I think I bail out into my Skunk Tank after another move. Or maybe we just play it out. I knew that Skunk Tank can win this match with unshielded Sludge Bombs. So, once again, shields. Wasn't really using them properly. Just like here, which, Shielding and Crunch isn't the worst, but, I knew it was something that I could take. Sorry about that. So he blocks that Crunch, and, hopefully, yep, there's a shield. And he swaps out into Bibarel. Because of how fast Bibarel can, shoot off those water guns, he really chews into my Skunk Tank. I get a second shield, but he's going to be able to take me out before I get to another charge move, or I'm able to swap out. My Umbreon is really hurt. Really, I should have just let the game end right there. He has all 3 Pokemon left still, and he gets to a charge move before I can, click on mine. But, the game was over. So we go to our second game. I'm going to lead off with Skunk Tank into his Bibarel. This was another match that, I wasn't real sure, but, Bibarel chunking away pretty easily. So we CMP tie. I seem to lose those a lot for some reason. I think Niantic hates me, but that's here and over there. I go for this Crunch, and it goes through. But, those water guns are still really hurting. So I swap out into Umbreon to try to take this Surf. And able to get it. I let it go through, and he swaps out into his own Umbreon. So, like we know, mirror matches, you got to have that Last Resort. So it's, pretty much GG's for my Umbreon. And he's going to store up a whole bunch of energy. So it's going to be, really bad for the next Pokemon that I bring in. As you've seen, I've already got off 2 charge moves, and he's now using his first last resort. There's the second. Here, the main thing I could have done is, either brought Ninetales, or not, yeah, Ninetales, or tried a little harder to find a last resort Umbreon, but the only one I found wasn't even in the state that I'm in. So, or Texas, I guess. But yeah. So his Umbreon's able to take out mine. I bring in my Nidoqueen. I knew Nidoqueen could take a foul play, or 2. So I let it go through. Although he is still up 2 shields, and I'm down to 1. So we're definitely not in a good position. Take another foul play and go for the Earth Power. I do believe he lets it go through. No. So he is trying to feint out my Nidoqueen with just Umbreon. We let it happen. So bring back in my Skuntank, and it's definitely not going to be able to take out an opposing Skuntank full health. He didn't even shield, and still going to have an easy time. I do believe I just let this go through and end the match, because it was over. But we go for a third match. What can I say? I'm a glutton for punishment. I start off Suicune again into his Ninetales. This isn't the greatest match for Suicune, but it's not terrible. I do miss a bubble there, but Bubble Beam doesn't do that much damage, so you're not really using it for the damage. And I was pretty surprised that he got to a charge move before I got to another Bubble Beam. But we do shield it and set off another one. So now his Alola Ninetales is doing reduced charms. Swap into my Skuntank to deal some damage to it. He brings in his Bibarel and get off Crunch. He shields it. So really we're just trying to go for these crunches as fast as we can. I knew he could probably just store up a whole bunch of energy, and I definitely didn't want to waste a shield on my Skuntank at this point. So bring back in my Suicune, but get the switch glitch. He had already taken the match, so I wasn't really concerned about glitches or restarting or anything like that. But I was able to get to a Bubble Beam right before fading. So I'm able to bring my Alola Ninetales in. One hits it, and he comes back in with Skuntank. So this is normally a pretty even match, although Skuntank should be able to win with just crunches. And if he didn't have that shield, maybe I could have pulled this off. But he's going to end up shielding this and able to get to that crunch pretty quick. So GG's. He did go on to take first by tiebreakers. The last video in this, it's going to be against Norbillion. I hope I said that right. I start Umbreon into Skuntank. We all know that I don't do very good in this match, so I tried to do something different and use foul plays instead of going for that Dark Pulse. Don't know if that's the right play or not, but I end up taking a Sludge Bomb. Go for another foul play and trying to get off one before he got off his sludge bomb, but even with that, he could probably get to a crunch or something before I could get to another foul play. I don't know. So he does let it go unshielded and just trying to feint it down. So I am able to get to the foul play first. But we are down a shield, and he brings in that Ninetales to quickly take me out. So I come in with my Skunk Tank. Like I said, a Skunk Tank can win this match with just crunches, but they have to go through. So, we're not looking all that good. I don't think I use my last shield here. No, I don't. So we do let our Skunk Tank fall and bring in our own Alolan Ninetales. We are even shields, but my Ninetales is hurt at this point, and he has a Bibarel, which is pretty much the soft counter for Alolan Ninetales. I do mess up on the bubbles a little bit, but he's got a shield, so here we're going to see that I lose once again with a shield. So my shield management just was not on it today. Starting game 2, he starts with Suicune into my Skunk Tank. Like I said, wasn't really sure about these other than, Suicune has Bubble Beam. I go for the Sludge Bomb because I thought it'd do a little more damage. I'm not sure which one's more energy efficient, but he lets it go unshielded. It was reduced damage, so I go for a Crunch. I thought it was weird that I was able to get to a move before he did and saw that he's shield, so I figured it'd be a Hydro Pump. So I do end up blocking. So, that's one correct shielding that I got. But this one was pretty quick, so I thought it was another Bubble Beam, which it is. And I try to just farm him down. I go for the Sludge Bomb, pretty sure, to whatever's coming in next, which is a Skunk Tank. So he lets that go through. It does a decent little chunk of damage. I'm going for this Crunch as fast as I can, trying to race him to it. He lets that go through as well. Thinking about switching, but I thought I brought Nidoqueen, but I didn't. So the Umbreon match isn't the best, and if I switch, he'd have, switch priority. Get another switch glitch, but he gets to a charge move pretty quick, so it goes away. Again, we don't shield, and I store quite a bit of energy. Go for a Dark Pulse. Probably should have just been foul playing through the whole thing. Kind of regretting opening up a second move on my Umbreon. That 75k really hurts. So I take another Crunch, and he's down to his last Pokemon, but his Nidoqueen. We're both down to our last shield, but I have Alolan Ninetales in the back. So the double poison strat was pretty dang good. I really enjoyed running it myself, although I didn't in any of these games, I think. I really didn't use Nidoqueen as much as I'd like to in the actual tournament. So I come in with my Ninetales. I figured it'd be a Earth Power, so, it's my last Pokemon. Might as well use a shield. But he stored up enough energy to get to 2, and I'm pretty sure this will be enough to take us out. Or, 1 away from. So we move on to our final game of the video, and it's Suicune versus Suicune. So I'm super sorry about this. This is going to be a boring match. They always are. Just a bunch of bubble beams. So, we play it out and figured we're not going to switch first. If he wanted to switch, then, you know, that's fine. That'll give us the switch advantage. But if we could, you know, do whatever we can with Suicune is what we're going to do. I thought he was doing a Hydro Pump here because just energy the way it went. But it was double reduced, so I didn't think it was going to do a whole lot of damage. It still puts me in the yellow, but, you know, I just keep bubble beaming him. This is the fourth one, so, you know, 4 times reduced. And he gets off, I want to say it's another bubble beam. Right. So neither one of us are doing very much. So I switch into my Alola Ninetales, and he's going to get off a bubble beam. Shielding with Suicune is always really risky because even if you shield, that bubble beam is still going to reduce your damage. And, you know, he gets me with the Hydro Pump. So luckily it was reduced so much and didn't do a whole lot of damage, or that would have taken me out. Brings in his Bibarel, and as we've seen in this video, that Bibarel can, you know, take out a full health Ninetales pretty easily. So I go for some bubble beams just to lower the Bibarel, because I knew that all I would have left is my Nidoqueen, and it would really hurt. So we're just doing whatever we can. He switches into some lag, and my Suicune just falls. So that was cool. And then we get our Ninetales versus Nidoqueen matchup. So I'm supposed to be able to just farm this down, but I'm pretty sure he got off a couple moves before, because I didn't think you would have to shield twice in this match. So I think I really messed up here by going for the Earthquake. I think if I would have went for Earth Power, I'd be able to get to another one before he got to his charge move. And as low as his Bibarel was, I didn't need to use the Earthquake.